We're gonna start things off more simply this year on Natural 9. We do a little bit of eclectic posting here on the old Natural 9 YouTube channel, mostly Critical Role with a dash of wrestling, a pinch of Persona, some video games, maybe a little anime, and toaster reactions therein. The one thing that all these disparate subjects share in common, other than the occasional sweaty fandom, and believe me, I count myself among them, is storytelling playing an integral role in their existence. Storytelling is something that is very important to me. I love me a good story. It's why I'm always the idiot behind the little partition when my friends roll their epoxy mold polyhedrons and commit pretend murders. That's why I love heavily serialized stories in fiction. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek for this and other reasons, among them being this sequence with Colonel Kira in Dominion War Command Red. I mean, just look at her, she's so dapper. Speaking of sci-fi that has enraptured me, Doctor Who is one of my absolute favorite series, and yes, I am New Who trash. I don't even know what a Bessie is. One of Doctor Who's long-term stories that I used to quite dislike but have since come around on was the entire River Song mystery. Oh, big spoilers for Doctor Who from Series 4 onward, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. But yeah, River's path is non-linear to the narrative as seen by the Doctor himself, with their first encounter from his perspective taking place near the end of her life, which, tragically, she was well aware of, and she knew ahead of time that she was at the event that would end her life. Now at first I just saw this as Stephen Moffat grandstanding, making a mystery without properly plotting anything, and then when he bumbles into the solution later on, he can just smugly smile and say, "Yeah, that was the point all along." But given enough patience, this is actually a very sweet, very tragic, and overall captivating tale. The only issue is because of the non-linear, almost reversed method of telling River's story, some of the story beats have what could be called temporary plot holes, story elements that are very clearly supposed to be revealed later after the Doctor encounters River on another occasion. But there's one such plot hole that hasn't been filled, and given the current state of Doctor Who, is likely never to be outside of the lands of the big bad, big finish audio dramas that, honestly, I need to get into. They have a lot of Missy ones. I love Missy.
Say something nice. Please.
That it's just, as long as you don't, as long as you don't kill me, don't do that. There's a moment in her debut during Series 4's Silence in the Library where River checks in on the then 10th Doctor, wanting to get some context for how their relationship is currently going.
Should we do diaries then? Where are we this time? Going by your face, I'd say it's early days for you, yeah? So, Crash of the Byzantium, have we done that yet? Obviously ringing no bells. Right, Picnic at Asgard. Have we done Asgard yet? Obviously not. Blimey, very early days then. Whew, life of a time traveller, never knew it could be such hard work. Look at you. You're young.
I'm really not, you know.
No, but you are. Your eyes. You're younger than I've ever seen you.
You've seen me before then.
Doctor, please tell me you know who I am.
Who are you?
Now, if you're not in the know, knowing what I said earlier about the non-linear nature of River Song's story, you might think, oh, she's just never seen him this young. It makes sense. But there's something that always threw me off. Going by your face, I'd say it's early days for you. Now, for a bit of explanation to lend some context to my confusion. The vast majority of River's life and encounters with the Doctor, from first explosive meeting to that wedding and that aborted timeline, were ones that she shared with Ten's successor, the 11th Doctor, portrayed brilliantly by Matt Smith's Chin. And while yes, Big Finish and other apocrypha show that River had encounters with most of the other incarnations to that point, We get the feeling that River only knows of the faces, but has never actually encountered them by this point. She just knows the Order as experienced by the Doctor's personal timeline, including even the War Doctor, the super secret limited edition Time War exclusive incarnation of the Doctor, as implied by her conversation with 12 during the Husbands of River song.
How have you got a new one, by the way? Aren't there rules?
A thing happened.
I bet it probably did.
See, that bit in itself shows that River was not aware of any incarnations past the one she knew to be the final one, but she at least knew about 10 and his little misadventures to that extent. But she's never shown to have interacted with him later in his life, not even during that intermediate period after he had a bit of an ego trip after the Waters of Mars. So with all that being said, why did she automatically assume it was early days for him when she barely knew this face? And why start with referencing the crash at the Byzantium, an event that is simultaneously one of the last she experienced and one of the first that the 11th Doctor would go on to experience, specifically with her knowing that 10 was the one right before her beloved Fez boy? The simple answer? It was early days and we didn't know how it was gonna go, and who cares, it's time travel, timey-wimey and all that. But I'm never a fan of the simple answer, so now we venture into the realms of that wonderful tool, headcanon, to fill the plot. And in this case, we're going to do so with the most plot device this side of the Timeless Child, which I love. Fuck you if you hate it. No, not really, but don't be a hater in the comments. We're just here to have fun. That's right, we're talking about good old Mr. Marketing Device himself, the 14th Doctor, as played by David Tennant, but again. Now, 14's entire narrative beat during the 60th anniversary specials was simple. He was worn out after the Time War, the whole thing at Trenzalore, millions of years in the Confession Dial, and you know, that whole half the universe ripping flux thing. Right, and the Timeless Child as well, that's probably important. It's why he took the face of an incarnation that was truly always destined to just finally sit down and relax. It's why he found his best friend and sister figure, Donna Noble, and helped her overcome her plot device. And it's why he did therapy by way of becoming the charismatic Scottish lad from Sex Education. But at the end of it all, By Generation gave us a Doctor who was finally able to just live in peace with his found family. But he still has a TARDIS, and based on dialogue between him and his adopted niece Rose, he definitely still uses it. And while it's implied that the Doctor went on a whirlwind tour to say goodbye and or check on all his companions when he was holding his regeneration from 10 to 11, we only got to see a few of those interactions. So why not? Why couldn't an older, wiser, way less likely to have to save the world Doctor take some time to go check in on his old friends? Give Yaz some of the closure she may need, knowing her beloved Doctor is doing their best. Check in on Martha after she dumped Mickey the Idiot because fuck Noel Clarke. Maybe finally visiting the brig and telling him that he should be incredibly proud of his daughter and all that she would do for UNIT before he passes. And most importantly, what if he found River's song at some point during her travels? What if this was the first time that she ever met this particular face? But because River assumed she knew everything about him, she just assumed that this was an older 10th Doctor closer to the point he regenerated into her preferred incarnation. Again, remember that she was blissfully unaware at the end of her life that the 12th Doctor was a thing, so it stands to reason she doesn't know every one of his faces, especially the ones beyond 11. This would go a long way to explain why when she saw him in the library, she wasn't surprised or amused at only having just met this face, because in her mind, she already had. It even serves a bit to explain why River would go straight to the crash of the Byzantium as early days for that face, because if at some point 14 told her that he was not in fact the original Skinny Git, she would assume that if she met a younger version of this man, then the crash of the Byzantium, a more recent event for her, might be a more recent event for him. Mind you, it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm nothing if not a little flexible. There's probably a multitude of other plot holes, and sure, it doesn't fit perfectly, but it's Doctor Who! Timey-wimey bullshit happens. It's all in good fun. And this is just my own personal headcanon. I just wanted to share it. Do you like it? Do you disagree? Do you think there's a better explanation? Let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe and all that. Anyway, can we also talk about how we never got to see 13 banter and kiss with her wife?